Well, folks, it looks like it happened once again. A man pretending to be a little girl just carried out a violent act, this time against his own parents, blasting his own parents. They're no longer with us, but the dude pretending to be a woman, he's still here, brightening up society with his presence. And how many of these events do we have to see? How does such a small portion of our population commit such a significant amount of these acts? It's almost as if dudes who pretend to be women are mentally ill. It's almost as if that's kind of a mental illness. But I would be considered a bigot and a bad person for even suggesting that. But we all know what the reality is. The writing is on the wall. We can see it. They even know that they're crazy. They just don't want you to acknowledge that they're crazy. But here we are, yet again. The warning signs were ignored, and now two people are no longer with us because their crazy son, who wants to pretend to be a woman, decided to take their life. And then a massive manhunt went underway. It took the police 16 hours to find this lady boy. Probably because they were searching for a woman the whole time, when in reality they should be searching for a dude. I honestly wonder, when something like this happens, I wonder if they're honest with the police about who the suspect is, what they look like, and what their gender actually is, because I've heard over, we read it in the articles all the time. You hear it in the police dispatch audio. You hear them calling dudes that look like dudes, she's and hers, trying to respect the pronouns. I'm wondering how much that plays in to cops actually looking for individuals. I sometimes cover missing persons cases, and recently I've seen a lot of missing person cases where it's a missing woman, and you go to the pictures and you see, oh wait, this is a dude. This is a straight up dude. But these people are so delusional and crazy, even when this person is missing and in danger, they want to tell you that it's a woman, which makes it harder to find that person. So I'm wondering if police have that problem as well. But anyways, a 16-hour manhunt happened. Eventually, they found the guy. I mean the girl. Sorry, don't want to offend anyone. Eventually, they found the dude that was pretending to be a little girl, and they arrested him. They kind of tried to keep it on the hush that the guy just killed two people, and the two people that were killed were the parents. But someone close to the family came out and verified the information, saying this: my sister Gail and her husband Blue Bailey were shot dead tonight. I'm numb. Their own son killed them. My poor mother has lost 3 of her 5 children. You always think it only happens to someone else. Give your brother or sister a call. Stay in touch. Listen, you can always think, oh, that just happens to other people. But once you get around a lady boy, a guy pretending to be a woman, the chances of you being murdered rise drastically. These people are dangerous. And you may think I'm just being mean-spirited, but I'm dead serious when I say that. This is nothing to play around with. Now, despite what you may hear on the news, the suspect's actual name is Colin Bailey. When these weirdos commit crimes like this, it's important that we report their real name. Because you see, they like to hide behind their little stage names, the little girl names that they create for themselves. So when you look them up, like when you look up Colin Bailey, you won't hear much about it. But if you look up Maya Bailey, Colin's little girl nickname, then you'll see the actual story. So In many ways, these news outlets run cover for these criminals because their crimes aren't really tied to their actual government names. Their crimes are usually tied to like their drag queen stage names, their little girl names that they create for themselves. But Colin was known to wear wigs and different disguises. Maybe that's why it was hard for the cops to track him down. And he was also in the process of transitioning. And we hear this so much. So often, when a male is in the process of transitioning into a woman, they get violent. What is it? Is it the hormones? Is it something that they're pumping into their bodies? I don't know. But we have enough examples of this to recognize the pattern now. But let's go ahead and roll this news clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
People inside a Washington County home was arrested after an hours-long search and a standoff last night.
It all began last night when police were called to a home and found 2 victims dead inside. Kristen McPeak is in Washington City at the scene for us. And Kristen, what are neighbors saying about what they witnessed? I'm sure it was a very difficult and long night.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that a lot of people were concerned of as there were alerts to shelter in place. Now, this all started right here. You can see the scene here behind me. Investigators still here. They're walking in and out of this home here, and that's where they're focusing their investigation. So here we have some neighbor video of the suspect being taken into custody. Police say the suspect is Mia Bailey. They say at 7 o'clock last night, they got reports of gunshot inside a home in Washington City. When police responded, they found a man and woman dead inside. Bailey was seen leaving the scene in a yellow Kia, and people throughout the area were asked to shelter in place as they searched for her overnight. Bailey surrendered to police in a neighborhood about 10 miles away from here after being found earlier this morning, and St. George police and the public worked together to make this all happen.
While this was happening, I was in the backyard with my daughter just playing softball, throwing a ball around, and then the next morning learned, oh my gosh, there was this killer and that we should have been staying inside.
It's tragic, and you never know when something like this is going to happen, and so it's just being diligent, being good neighbors.
And police have not released the identity of the victims. We're still working to get more information on that, and we'll keep you updated on air and online. Live in Washington City.
All of this is much, much more than just, it's a little boy who feels like a girl, or a little girl who feels like a boy. This is so much more than that. This is a religion. This is an ideology that is being spread. This is a cult that we're dealing with, and your kids are being indoctrinated and welcomed into this cult at their public schools, at their elementary school, their middle school, their high school. They're being pumped with the messaging from the music to the video games, the TV, you name it. And it is a dangerous ideology. It is an ideology that makes people lash out violently simply because other people refuse to bend the knee to their delusions. Now, I don't have any idea what was going on inside of that household, but I guarantee you there must have been some resentment. There was some anger because Colin Bailey decided, hey, I'm going to be a girl now. And maybe Colin Bailey's family was like, hey, no, you're not. Or you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to pretend you're a girl. I'm not going to ignore reality to make you feel better, but that's what these people want. And when people don't ignore reality to make them feel better, they lash out violently. They think it gives them the right to carry out these attacks. You see, a lot of these dudes pretending to be women and women pretending to be dudes that carry out these type of events, they think that their actions are justified because they're fighting against oppressors. They're fighting against hateful people who are bigoted and who are against their way of life. But it's just because they've been so indoctrinated. They've become such a big part of this cult That they'll look at people who actually love them and they will end them without a second thought. Simply because maybe they didn't want to call you a she or a her. Or maybe they accidentally misgendered you. But that's the reality of this dangerous ideology. And for those of you who cater to people like this, and you feed into their delusions, you're setting them up for failure, and you're in danger. I'm telling you right now, the people out here want to play games with people who are mentally in this type of position. You are playing with fire. And when you play with fire, you wind up getting burned one way or the other. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll be talking to you all very soon in the next one.